Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday Words. This week in our congregation, we are considering agreements, or covenants, the promises that we make to each other about how we want to be together in community. Of course, covenants come in many shapes and sizes, from really small marriage covenants to covenants of a whole congregation and kind of everything in between. Lots of different groups use some version of covenants or agreements that we hope will embody or help us to embody treating each other well, the way that we want to be together. Now, of course, it can be much easier to keep our covenants in some situations than others, and it's particularly difficult in times of tension or conflict, when the needs of the different people in the covenant are at odds with each other, and so we have to make decisions about that, or when our own stuff, if you will, our own pains and hurts and particular vulnerabilities are activated by something that happens. So in all of these situations, it can be helpful to have some tools that we can use to better keep our covenanted commitments. So I want to share one of those tools with you today. So I learned this most recently from Michael Slack and Alex Capitan of the Transforming Hearts Collective, and it comes from the Quaker tradition. And the idea of this tool is to open up a space between something happening and our reaction to the thing happening. So if we're in a situation of tension or conflict with people with whom we are in covenant, sometimes someone will say something or do something or something will happen and we will just react immediately with not a lot of thought. And when we do that, it can be incredibly difficult to do that in a way that is in keeping with our covenanted agreements. So the idea of this tool is to help us open a space between the thing that happens and our response to it, to help us respond thoughtfully rather than just react. So this particular version of this tool, there's lots of versions of this tool, but this particular version is the acronym THINK, in other words, think before you respond, and it stands for thoughtful, honest, inspiring, necessary, and kind. So thoughtful, have you given some thought to this? Honest, is what you're about to say true? And I think there are sort of two criteria for truth here. One is, or honesty, one is it factually true? Are you saying something that you know to be dishonest, or are you being as honest as you can? Factually. And there's also the idea of being emotionally honest, or are you telling yourself the truth about what's going on for you, and are you bringing that forward? Are you being honest about your own experience and what you know to be true? The third letter is I, inspiring. And this, as Michael and Alex explained, is not necessarily about sort of clouds parting, sunshine coming down kind of inspiring. But the idea here is what I'm about to say in the service of the community pursuing its values and goals? Is this in the service of our vision and our mission and who we collectively want to be together? That's what we mean by inspiring here. The N stands for necessary, is what I'm about to say, necessary. And I think for some of us, especially perhaps Unitarian Universalists, this is a hard one. I know that I often find myself in this place of thinking, I have to be the one to say this exact thing. And so it can be helpful to step back and think, have three other people already said something substantially similar? Do I really need to be the one to say it? Alex and Michael said that part of this is about asking yourself whether you are the right messenger. So is what you're about to say necessary, and are you the right one to say it? And then finally, kind. Kind here doesn't necessarily mean nice or polite in the sense of keeping things buried that need to be talked about. But when we are saying hard things, we should be doing that still in a way that recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of the people that we're talking to as human beings. So, thoughtful, honest, inspiring, necessary, and kind. And if we can take a moment and just think about whether what we are about to do in response to something meets those criteria, we might stand a better chance of keeping our covenants. So I hope you find that helpful. This Sunday, we will be talking about agreements and covenants at 10:30 in our sanctuary, so I invite you to join us for that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great week.